Hello everyone, welcome to the channel, and today I'm going to introduce you to the Savage Berserker. So let's cut to the chase and get straight into the content. Let's get it! The Savage Berserker is a completely different build to the other strength build I made. This build is equipped with the Black Steel Great Hammer plus 25 that is on the heavy affinity, which boasts some incredible damage potential. This build also has an innate guard counter that does holy damage to your enemies, so you can bonk your way all the way through the Land of Shadows. This build has a focus that is based around the Ash of War, and that is the Savage Lion's Claw, which I think is an insane AOW. This build, unlike my other build, will depend more on light roll. Now light roll, it may not sound like a good thing at first, but trust me, it can be a really OP tool in the right hands. So just to mention, this build will not be for everyone, but the idea for this build is dealing a lot of damage while being evasive if need be. So if you're in a pickle, just light roll your way out. The AOW boasts some insane damage, and to enhance the damage potential, this build is using the Shard of Alexander. While doing the AOW and you have FP, you can build up a lot of poise damage on your opponent, which ultimately stance breaks your enemy. Not only that, but if you have FP and use your AOW, you do insane damage. The good thing about the AOW is that even without FP, you can still use the AOW. Granted, you don't get much damage or poise damage when you have no FP, so that's something to mention. This build doesn't have an appealing look to it, but going under the theme of a savage, I decided to go with fur raiments, leather arm wraps, prisoner's trousers, and the Fang Imp Head. Why the Fang Imp Head, you ask? Because it gives 2 extra points for strength, and I think it looks awesome in my opinion. For the most part, we will be two-handing the weapon. To get the most out of this build, we will be using the two-handed sword talisman, which enhances attacks while two-handing the weapon. Since this build is more reliant on evasion and not getting hit, I ended up putting the Erdtree's Favor plus 2 on this build to boost HP, stamina, and equip load. And for the last slot, well, I'm going to leave that to you. But me personally, I like to do jump attacks to close the gap on my enemies, so I'm going to use the Claw Talisman, which enhances jump attacks. In the slot, you have other options, such as the Dragon Crest Shield Talisman, or maybe even the Curved Sword Talisman. This one just depends on your playstyle. This build is also using the Finger Seal plus 25, so you can buff yourself with Flame Grant Me Strength. I do have Golden Vow as a buff, but before you can use that, you'll need to use the Physic, which has the Opaline Hard Tear, which temporarily boosts or damage negation, and the Faith Knot Crystal Tear, which boosts Faith by 10 points, which allows you to use Golden Vow. This is an optional pick if you want more damage, but you can use Electrify Armament or Black Flame Blade. Me personally, I'm picking Electrify Armament just because the buff lasts longer. You could use Blood Flame Blade as well, but because the weapon is on the slower side, I don't think that's worth it in my opinion. The cons for this build is you can only get interrupted on certain parts of the AOW, which is the end part of the first hit / slam when touching the ground. But while up in the air, you do get massive hyper armor, but this is from my testing. The next con is going to be the FP consumption. An example is using all your incants and AOWs all in one go. It will definitely drain that FP bar, so that's something to mention. If you wanted to, you can take away 10 points from strength and put them into mind just to give you more FP, but that part's up to you. Apart from that, as mentioned, this is not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but I personally think this is a fun build, especially if you're good at dodging. It has buffs, damage potential, light roll, and so much more for this build, so don't let its looks deceive you. So I'm going to put up all the stats, equipment, talismans, buffs, and physics. Let me know your thoughts and opinions about this build in the comment section. Until next time.